Okay guys, this is to kind of answer some questions about the Spec D headlights that I have for my r56 Cooper S. This is the driver's side installed, passenger side installed. Ignore any small damage you might see. I did have a run-in with a deer a few months ago. But anyway, I replaced my OEM halogens, which are sitting over there on that shelf, because of, well, many reasons. The biggest being that they're just not that good. So anyway, I'm gonna show you guys what I encounter every time I start my car. So first things first, when I turn my car on, it complains about, well, everything. Of course, let's see. Let's actually turn it on. There we go. So I'm not wearing my seatbelt. It flashed 2 high beams and 2 low beams because I have an HID kit installed. I have a 35 watt, I believe 5000K that I bought from DDM Tuning installed. So I turned on my parking lights to show you how I have the halos and LEDs wired. I think it gives a decent look, but of course it doesn't match the same color of the driving lights. But it's something. I'm torn on whether or not to keep using them. I wired them off of the side light here, but I may turn them off. But for now, they're on, and that's what they look like. If I turn on my headlights, let me turn off this other light. That's what my kit looks like. Now, keep in mind, my garage door is a whole 3 feet away from the front of my car. The cutoff is kind of whatever. My wife comments that there's this rainbow effect at the top. It's pretty obvious to me, but I can still see dramatically better with these than I can with the factory halogens, even with a decent bulb. So, that's what they look like this. Now, of course, everybody said if you pulled the thing towards you, you would get your high beams, which look like that. But the bigger complaint with these lights was with the cancellors connected. If you pushed the lever away from you to turn your high beams on and stay on, they wouldn't stay on. And the reason for that is because if the cancellors are on, the H11 kit only receives power from the low beams. And with the cancellors in place, the low beams don't get power when you flip to high beams. Without the cancellors, my interpretation is that the car realizes that the high beam bulb doesn't work, so it leaves the low beam bulb running. Or leaves it powered, I should say, not running. So like this, my high beams work, and you see that the cutoff is lifted when I turn the high beams on. This works really well for me driving on the roads that I drive on. The one drawback is, wired like this, the flash to pass function doesn't work. Because like this, without your lights on, only the high beams would get the power, and there is none. The kit that I have doesn't support that. What I also did is, with the kit that I bought from DDM Tuning, also I bought the wiring that allows you to connect it with a relay to the battery, which then means instead of the kits getting their power from whatever's running through the wires to your headlights, they get their actual power directly from the battery, but are controlled by a relay that comes from your headlights to know when to turn them on or off. It's not perfect by any means, but I want to say it's better, but I have my moments where I go back and forth. Given what I paid for the entire kit, I paid $240 for the lights and roughly $45 for the kit and that harness to allow it to work the way that it does. The one thing that doing this with the additional harness does is it removes the flickering issue that everybody complains about. Well, not everybody, but that I've seen a lot of complaints about with the HID kits. I have never had that issue. At least not with using this harness, because the kit is powered directly off of the battery. I will gladly answer any questions that you guys have, if you have any. And that's pretty much it. Would I recommend it? Maybe. I wish I could give you a better answer. I guess it depends on how much you don't like the lights you have. I did get a quote from the mini dealer for if I wanted to do the factory retrofit, and they quoted me $1,000 just for the parts, of course, no labor included, which would require a reprogram, so another couple hundred easily, I'm sure, given their rate of labor is $140 per hour, or maybe it might be more than that. That's just a stab in the dark. So yeah, like I said, this was a good alternative for me versus the OEM lights. And they serve my purposes. I've been periodically trying to find ways to get my flash to pass functionality back, but I think it will require a little bit of creative wiring that I just haven't done. But there are probably ways to do it. But in the meantime, I just don't use that functionality. So yeah, like I said, any questions, let me know.